This is the Man in a Room podcast.
Oh, you know the one with the feathers and the eyes and the beak that goes out, and the weird sort of bottom part of the beak, which is almost like a sack. Pelican. Hello and thank you for joining me for this Friday episode of the Man in a Room podcast. How's it going? First things first, I do need to tell you this episode isn't vegan friendly. I'm not making fun. I'm just going to be talking about stuff that aren't vegan. Because I just don't think it'd be an interest to vegans this episode, because I'm going to talk about an egg, and So one of my favourite things is, for breakfast, I like to have soft-boiled eggs on toast. I do enjoy a soft-boiled egg on toast. It's lovely. Basically, it's quite simple. You basically get your eggs, you boil them, right, and then you give them like 5 minutes or however long. I think 5 minutes for me is just perfect. It's that sort of borderline. It might be a little bit too near runny on this kind of stuff. And then obviously you peel the eggs, put your toast in. You put your toast in whilst you're peeling the eggs, you see. It gives you a couple of minutes to do that. So you do that, and then you season it as you wish. I can put salt and pepper on mine, black pepper. Obviously, why would you put like white pepper on there? And then you can also put other stuff on there. My favourite thing to put on there is Chipotle Tabasco, but I just can't seem to find it at the minute. It's really annoying. The only reason I bring it up, this, is because every morning when I make this, I'm all like, right, here we go. This is going to be some proper time here. So I put my water on, like, here we go, right. Like, that needs to boil. So while that's boiling, I'm all like, okay, I'm just going to tidy up my kitchen, because there's just to get it done out of the way, you see. Cause I'm waiting for the pot to boil. Because you shouldn't watch it. That is the rule. You do not watch a pot if you're trying to boil it, because it just doesn't work. It's not actually a myth. It's true. In fact, they used to employ people years ago. When I say years ago, I mean hundreds of years ago, to stare at the sea in case it started to boil. And obviously it didn't, and they just assumed that's why it wasn't boiling. Which, why they say about the 1,000-mile stare, because they're trying to light 1,000 mile of the sea. And, In fact, most of our most famous philosophers were sea starers. So, it's interesting to know. And so, I'm just doing bits and pieces, and I'll put the eggs in, like, right, we've got 5 minutes, here we go. So I was just basically tidy my house up and all this kind of stuff, and just, just get it sort of done out of the way. Then the buzzer goes off, like, it's 5 minutes. It's like, oh, here we go. Now it's all action stations. You have to, start limbering up for this one, because it's a lot of effort, from literally nothing to something very quickly. So here we go, right, here we go. Turn the hob off. You take the saucepan off the boil, and then you basically scoop out the eggs, and you blow on them, because it's fun when you blow on a boiled egg, because you're cooling down all the moisture or whatever, and it basically just disappears. And like, my mum and dad used to do this all the time. They'd basically be cooking boiled eggs, and they'll just come in so I can blow on the eggs, because it's like magic. And I still do that to this day. It's not necessary, but it actually dries them, actually. So yeah, I guess it does do something. And it's like, quickly break them open. But the thing is, because they'd literally just been boiling for 5 minutes, they're a little bit hot. It's like, for goodness sake. So I get an oven glove, and I stand there, and I peel off the egg, and it's always like, I always burn myself. It's like, oh, for goodness sake. It's burning myself, like, but I do it every time. I'm getting good at it, but sometimes if the eggs are a bit older than normal, then the eggshell sticks to it a bit more than it normally would, and that's a bit frustrating. But it does happen from time to time, but it's not really a big deal. But it's like, oh, for goodness sake, don't need this effort as well. And then the toast will pop up, and then you put your eggs on there, you slice them all up. Your fingers are still hurting a little bit because they're a bit hot, but then you season it, and you sit down with your cup of tea, and it's like, yes, I've achieved that. I feel so proud of myself. I do that most mornings, actually. I do like a good boiled egg on toast. And it also gives me time to sort of just do stuff around the flat as well, because it's like, well, I could easily just sit down and watch CFAX in the front room if I wanted to, but I don't. I'll just potter around making sure I'm just doing bits and pieces. It's only 5 minutes. Do you know what I mean? And I enjoy the reward. My entire outlook on life is basically if you suffer a little for a lot, it's okay. It's the best way of looking at it. The good outweighs the bad on that. So it's like, I'll burn my fingers on the egg. Yeah, big deal. On a side note, when it comes to eggs, this is my personal philosophy about them. And that's basically, I only eat eggs from a chicken that I know, or a friend of a friend, if you know what I mean. Because, I'll bet they're not pasteurised or whatever. I don't care. I've never died, or before, you know what I mean? I've never died eating an unpasteurised egg. So I'm not too worried. Just keep them in the fridge, innit? Done. In fact, actually, there's a whole argument. Do you keep eggs in the fridge or not? I say yes, because it extends their life significantly. But yeah, that's just me. I didn't used to, but I'm thinking, do you know what? Yes, it's best to do that. Yep, my life has got many different facets to it, and it's quite a strict life I lead there. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna go make myself a quick cup of chai, and I'll get back to you in a second.
If you have any thoughts, comments, or questions, please do not hesitate to send them to show@maninaroom.co.uk.
So you heard me just mention there I was going to make myself a cup of chai. I did make myself a cup of chai, and it's not the chai that I desire. So basically, you may have heard me mention my favourite chai of recent times is an Asda brand. Basically, it's this just spicy chai. It's as simple as that, really. It's really nice. Yeah, it's like chai, and it was spicy. It's all you really wanted. Everyone who tried it was like, man, that's a good chai. I was like, I know, right? This is the best chai I've ever had in my entire life. Well, that's not strictly true. It's it's the easiest to access, I should say. So, I was like, okay, so I ran out of those tea bags. I've been rationing them out because I've heard on the grapevine that apparently they've changed the recipe of this chai, and I'm not happy about it. Even though I hadn't tried it until quite recently, and I'm not happy about it, like really unhappy about it. So basically, there's like, new improved recipe. So I was like, okay, fine, whatever. It can't be that far removed from what I'm expecting, because it was so good. And so I was like, okay, so I bought a box. I'll change the box. So I was like, fine, whatever. And I made myself a cup. I was like, this is weak. This is terrible. This is awful. What is going on? And no matter what I've done with it, like I've left the tea bag in longer. I've just left the tea bag in just there, just to marinate for as long as it wishes. And you know what? I'm so disappointed. It's horrible. I've got maybe 5 of those other tea bags left, my last ones. I've got to decide now, do I basically drink those last few ones there and be done with it and then move on? Or do I, keep them aside for when I really fancy a nice chai, but I run the risk of them going stale, you see? So it's like, what do I do? Why did they change stuff? Why? Really? I mean, what's probably happened, I'm guessing, is that this chai is a bit spicy. I like it because it's spicy. It's got a nice kick to it. I like a good bit of spice. Like I said, I mentioned earlier about I like having Tabasco on my boiled eggs in the mornings because I like the spiciness. I like that spice. So then they've changed it because maybe someone's like, I don't like the spice of your chai. And they thought, okay, fine. We'll think about changing it. Somebody else emailed in, probably their sister. Oh, I don't like spice in my chai. And then this whole smear campaign is started by some disgruntled person because they don't like spice in their chai. It's like, for goodness sake. Why do they change things? Do you know what I used to like change when I was younger? In fact, I remember, this is really nerdy, but years ago when I used to stay up at night to watch the New Year coming in, it used to be something that used to be pretty good to do. I still do, actually, I can't lie. It just feels a bit rude not to, And one of the things I used to look forward to was when they used to change the Roman numerals at the end. This is true. And I remember when it changed to MM, and I'm like, oh, look at that, that's really cool. It's just 2 letters, that's amazing. Right? And then, obviously, every year it changes. But then at one point, I just stopped caring. I think it's pretty much soon after MM, because then you've got, last year was MMXIX, because M stands for 1000, so you've got that's 2000s, then you've got X, which means 10, and then you've got IX, which basically means 1 before 10, so that means 9, otherwise it'd be V, because that stands for 5, I, and so, that's how they do it, that's the way they work it out. Then I looked at this up, 2018, right, was MMXVIII. I was like, blimey, that is ridiculous. And the only reason I mention this is because I was watching TV earlier, and it's March now, and it made me laugh because I noticed it was MMXX. I was like, oh yeah, that's actually pretty good. That I like a good pattern, like the two M's and then followed by the two X's, like that. That is satisfying to look at. I do enjoy that, and it's weird because I just haven't noticed it for all these months. And actually, what I remember from when I was a kid, something used to really annoy me. I found out about like copyright stuff like this, because actually this was when I was a kid. This is when I was a bit older, actually. When it comes to obviously copyrighting your creative output, you see, you have to put the date in it and the year and this kind of stuff. And it used to really annoy me because technically, this is really stupid. Technically, in my head, I thought, well, half of this TV show was actually made in the year before, so that should have its own separate year stamp. Like it'll say, like, this was made, as an example, 2019 to 2020, because that's what you would put, because it wasn't all created in 2020. That's the risk you run when you go over a year. Do you know what I mean? And no, it's just a personal thing, really. That just annoyed me as well. But anyway, it's good though, because we're now on MXX, and that's exciting. So yeah, I don't know what to do about the chai, if I'm completely honest. I think what I might do, there's literally nothing I can do. I just have to be a bit more creative, and I should maybe add a bit more pizzazz to the chai, just to make it a bit more interesting, because what I say to people is that with spices and ingredients and this kind of stuff, you can actually, you can create what you want. You can, that's what's possible. People forget this stuff. You don't just have to buy something off the shelf and accept it for what it is. What I do is I buy the cheapest, nastiest stuff, right? Start at the bottom. You don't want to sort of go lower. So basically, you try that, and you basically have it straightforward, plain Jane as possible. And then it's okay, fine. So what would I add to this to make it a bit more interesting? I'd add, say you're doing a pasta sauce, you'd be like, okay, I might add a bit more onions, maybe a bit of garlic, maybe some bay leaves or something. You know what I mean? All this kind of, basically just work out what it needs, and you get different flavors like that, and that's always pretty good. So I'll have to do something about this chai. I'll have to get back to you on that, because I'm pretty sure there are people listening to this thinking, do you know what? I'm with you on that. I don't want you not having your chai. You don't have a lot in this life. He just wants his chai, I do enjoy a chai. It's actually quite funny, me and chai. So I'm trying to work out the path of where I've come from on it. And I remember when I started working in the coffee shop, my boss was all like, I love chai. So I was like, okay, really? And then it's like they said, oh, you should give it a chai. So, all hilarious. And I was like, I don't like that very much. And then I went around some friends' houses. So, there's two friends living together. They are like engaged, And so they were like, "Oh, did you want a cup of tea, or did you want a chai?" I was like, "You've got chai here." So, it's in a tea bag form. I was like, "A tea bag form? What, of chai? Beg your pardon." And then ever since then, I've been obsessed with chai. And funnily enough, in this funnel that I'm in, my brother randomly started drinking chai, I think last year sometime, and then he tried to get me to drink it. I'm like, I already drink chai, my brother. And it's also quite funny because he also drinks with almond milk, which is also what I do. So it's like, preaching to the choir here, brother. But yeah. Anyway, just waffling on there about nothing. It's funny how things matter differently to different people. Like, you're probably thinking, I don't care about your chai, but it's a lot to me. I'm very passionate about it. I'm not going to write to Asda and be like, oh, can you change it back? Because why would they? They've obviously spent a lot of time and money to do this. But, they might change it back. They might have an old stock, I don't know. Anyway, I'll catch you all again next week anyway. So I'll let you know. So have a good weekend and all that kind of stuff. Have a good rest of your day. And I will catch you then. So I'll see you next Tuesday.
Who is the man? Where is the room? It's some guy you've never heard of, in a room you've never been in. For more information, head over to maninaroom.co.uk.